this morning. I hope all is well with everyone who's maybe tuning in today. Again, happy Friday to you. Thank you so much for tuning in to WNCR-TV Now as we talk about things impacting our state, our city, and our nation. We are on both Facebook and YouTube. Again, good morning to you. Super late, 17 minutes past 8 o'clock hour. I don't have a lot to talk about today, obviously. So I guess that's why I'm late. You know, I had to do some other things this morning as well. Even accidentally made a phone call this morning and talked to Edgecombe County Chair, Miss Alfreda. So good morning to her yet again this morning. Yesterday on the show, though, we had Linwood Williams there. He was talking about, or here should I say, he was talking about which way is freedom now, inviting people out on Saturday, April the 5th from 10 a.m. until noon at the Braz Memorial Library in the Warner Room, as he'll be talking about his book. It's a book review exploring two types of American freedom. And so free seminar, going to deal with the 7 pits of American bondage, from ignorance to fear to hopelessness to guilt to blame to hate to dependency. Again, light refreshments will be served. The public is invited. If you need more information, contact Linwood Williams at 252-314-3048. Again, I'm going to give that number to you again at 252-341-3048. Again, good morning to each and every one of you. Thank you so much for tuning in to WNCR-TV Now, as we talk about things impacting our state, our city, and our nation on this Friday morning, March 28th, the day we've never seen before. And we should certainly be glad to be a part of today. Let's see. I was looking at a couple of news articles earlier this morning, and one of them was, are we going to feel the impact of the North Carolina Department of Health blindsided by the $100 million in federal fund cuts and 80 jobs lost? We kind of talked about that in a brief on yesterday, but the interim state health director, Dr. Kemple, told the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services had no advance warning about the cuts to the department. Kemple said the department is still trying to unravel which programs and jobs will be cut. The department announced on Wednesday it's cutting 80 jobs, and the North Carolina Health and Human Services cut 80. It says, wait a minute. It says the department announced Wednesday it is cutting 80 jobs, and the North Carolina Health and Human Services Department is to cut 80 jobs, lose $100 million in federal funding. I guess I just redid the storyline because I was like, why you say that twice? This is a significant amount of funding, and we're going to feel the impacts no matter what, Kemple said. Kemple said other job losses may come at the local level where funding paid to service local governments, hospitals, and universities. We're continuing to work to understand the impact, but we will have to mitigate knowing that there's a large amount of funding that we cannot fill the gap. So, you know, certainly gap can be filled by the North Carolina General Assembly taking up the slack if they so desire to, but if not, obviously those things will be cut. And so the impact may be compounded there for sure. Of course, Durham County Public Schools announces hiring freeze as district budget for the as they present the budget for 2025 and 2026. And I would say I'm not sure how any governmental office locally could even present a budget with any additional hires, any additional money being spent with what's happening in the federal government, with the uncertainty there. And I was talking to a daycare owner just yesterday, and we're talking about the uncertainty of while there's need for childcare slots and things in our community, is just do you make the investment in doing it, knowing that you may not be able to stay in business with a lot of cuts to public education, cuts to this, and they say, well, we're really not cutting, we are shifting money in them, but yet, yeah, right. So we again we'll see as it unfolds there. Then what else was happening in our community? Of course, we talked about the retreat stuff. I see that the Rocky Mountain Telegram has kind of done a couple of articles about how the city leaders hash out plans for community's future. City Council approves new residential structure that's over in Nashville. And of course, we talked about the OIC plan for the old former Memorial Hospital in downtown Rocky Mount as well. And then we don't know if we actually talked about it, but it was mentioned on the committee as a whole meeting video that I shared with you on the other day. But here it is in the newspaper. It says the Rocky Mountain Police Department said they recently made a breakthrough in a case of a fatal shooting that occurred downtown shortly after Christmas Day in 2023. Augustine, 28, was charged with first-degree murder of Aaron Porter, 34. Rocky Mount Police sent a press release last week. So Rocky Mount Police Chief Robert Hassel, in an interview on Monday, said that anytime the police department can conduct solid investigation, identify who committed crimes, and have evidence to back up the charges to give the district attorney office the case they can prosecute, it's always a win in their corner. Also, in the way of additional announcements this morning, Congressman Don Davis, representing North Carolina's 1st Congressional District, has a couple of office openings, and that's going to be tomorrow. So the Goldsboro office is 2803 Cashwell Drive, Suite B in Goldsboro, North Carolina, from 10:30 until 2 p.m. The Rocky Mount office at Falls Road at Suite 2002, that will open up from 1 to 2:30. And then Elizabeth City office at 306 East Colonial Avenue in Elizabeth City. That office opening will be slated from 4:30 till 6 p.m. So they're inviting everyone to join them for the grand opening of new district offices. Come meet Congressman and his team, learn how they can assist you, and enjoy light refreshments, whether you need help with veteran services, Social Security, Medicare, IRS issues, or navigating federal government agencies. They are there to help you. That's Congressman Don Davis this morning. That is reminding people, especially in our local area, the Rocky Mount office. Again, that's 1151 Falls Road, Suite 2003 through 2002. And that is in the Rocky Mount Mills. So there you go. There again, that's tomorrow from 1 p.m. until 2:30. Light refreshments will be served. And got that from the congressman this morning. Told him I would announce it on the radio. What else is happening this weekend or today? Let's see here. Oh, of course, we had a great precinct meeting on last night. Some thought it was the night before last, and so that was at Edgecombe County Community College, the Rocky Mount campus. Of course, we were there last night, met some familiar faces, and got to talk to some folk who I hadn't seen in a little while, and so appreciate those who came out last evening to our precinct meeting there. I forgot to share the Facebook Live video this morning. Let me get that done as well. Wncr-Tv. Don't want to do that. Want to do this. And want to say good morning. There we go. So we got that going on. So you too can share the Facebook Live video this morning on WNCRTV.com. We're also on Facebook. Not Facebook. We're also on YouTube. Obviously, we're on Facebook. I just shared that one. We're on YouTube. We should be on the website too at mywncrtv.com. We're also on WAJA 102.5 FM right here in the Rocky Mount area as well. So we look forward to doing that. Let me find this photo here. Be multitasking here, there, and everywhere. I thought I multitasked here, there, and everywhere. There we go. Well, now I didn't see it. Anyway, I'll get that done later on. 26 minutes past the hour on WNCR TV. Now, the 8 o'clock hour, that is. And so if you got to be to work at 9 o'clock, you still got time this morning to be there. In the midst of things going on, the Rocky Mount Redevelopment Commission is working towards some redevelopment in the community from a number of areas. In the next couple of months, you should see some people roaming through various neighborhoods in our communities, which would include the Around the Y community, the Southeast Rocky Mount community, community called Crosstown, the Happy Hill community, Holly Street, and there's one other area I can't think of. 7 areas anyway. They will be going. They will be going through those areas, collecting some data, having some community meetings, and talking about what do you want to see neighborhoods look like, right? And try to eradicate some of the conditions that we see in our communities every day. So that is another. They kind of mentioned a little bit at the retreat And of course, Redevelopment Commission met on yesterday and talked even more in detail as to what is the hope and goal to happen, as well as adding some additional activity there on Beale Street area as well. So looking forward to all of those things unfolding. My understanding is there's some more housing perhaps coming down O. Wilson Road, right next to Brown Acres community. Some workforce type housing as well, in an effort to hopefully provide some affordable housing to residents in this area, in our area, in our city, Rocky Mount. And I hope that you'll increase supply that would also drive down some of the costs associated with the rent rates that people are paying. And you may can't build them fast enough to do it. I do believe there is an additional phase they were talking about as far as some homes being built in the Meadowbrook area as well. And so moving along with housing as much as possible. So let's see. I want to say good morning to those who've tuned in thus far and chimed in on Facebook. We appreciate each and every one of you on our late start this morning. I want to say good morning to James Bullock, Gwendolyn Swain, Irma Maxwell, Mike Jones, Irma Maxwell, I think they said Irma Maxwell, Brenda Whitehead, Jacqueline Leonard Randolph, as well as Alfreda, and everybody who's saying good happy birthday to me. Well, thank you much. Good morning also, Lucy Boyer. Yeah, today I get another day older, March the 28th. Ironically, it's the same day every year. So nothing changes. But again, appreciate all the little birthday, not little birthday shout, but appreciate the birthday shout outs that you've been providing since midnight last night, because with Facebook notifying who's having a birthday on that particular day from inboxes and etc. We thank you for the birthday love you've already showed before 9 o'clock. How about that? So again, thank each and every one of you there. So what else is, so I don't know if you've seen this. Now this is, I don't know. Let me just make sure this is even true. Because everything you see on Facebook don't necessarily mean it's true. But if you see a news story, Yep. So I guess so. Okay. I guess so. Well, maybe. So gospel singer, Pastor Marvin Sapp told his ushers to close the doors in a video that resurfaced asking for $40,000 in donations. It has happened. The video resurfaced in 2024 when Pastor gospel singer Marvin Sapp was being criticized by internet after he told his ushers at the church to close the doors and challenged those in the convention to donate $40,000. Many social media users are saying the action went too far. And let's see. So that is talking about the action. Okay, so no actual criminal action that I see has happened. So they're just talking about what happened. So there's one thing I saw on Facebook that talked about him being charged with kidnapping. And in fact, I should have known that wasn't the truth anyway. He wouldn't have been charged with kidnapping if he had locked the doors. Now, he could have been perhaps charged with false imprisonment, but kidnapping, he would have met the elements anyway. Yes, again, stuff you see on Facebook. Don't believe it. Research. And again, at a quick glance, I just say, there are 1,500 people being kidnapped. And obviously not. The elements of kidnapping is nowhere near you going to a place and not letting you go. He actually would have had to move you from one location to another and contain you, confine you. And so I should slap my own self in the face on that one. But again, it looks like it did. Certainly, he did do it. And encouraged him to give, but and I guess some people thought there was, anyway, that's just some old stuff that people want to put on social media, I guess. But there you go. But it does speak to a number of events, I guess, that people do go to, and they do raise a great amount of money. And then you question yourself: do you go to church to hear the word of God and to be a better person, or do you go there to try to meet some type of financial goal? That has always been certainly a topic of conversation over the years, at least over the years that I've been around. here, whereas we got to meet a budget, we got to do this and got to do that, and I don't know if it's a firm believer that if you truly are being taught, you're receiving something, it would be in your heart to be participatory, financially participatory in presence with whatever organization that you are involved in. So that's that. And others have different thoughts and opinions, and that's why we live in this place called America. That's why we have this thing called freedom. And so we're able to think and feel the way that we do, but don't allow those freedoms to make you say, hey, I disagree with the person so much that I want to, harm them. And oftentimes, I think that is some of the sentiments that we see from the administration that we have now. Whereas when people are not responding the way that he would prefer them to, then it is, get rid of them, fire them, censor them, all of this type of backlash and rhetoric that goes on. And I think is not helpful and beneficial to the nature of our nation. But then you have people who somewhat agree with those sentiments. Then you have a congressional district race. Of course, President Donald Trump has appointed a number of former House members to congressional seats. And so some of those seats in which were strongly Republican leaning will most likely probably go back Republican, but there seeming to be more of a struggle than an easy win for the seats in past. And so often you can also contribute that to the Trump effect, that if President Trump is not physically on the ballot, it doesn't push people to go out. And then some are correlating it to the fact that there are many people who are disagreeing with the Trump administration after seeing what it is and actually being impacted, or having people who are directly impacted by some of the actions of the administration thus far. So you really don't know, but there's one district, I think in Florida, in which President Trump won by 30 points. Now it looks like the House member may win it by 4, and that's within the margin of error. So that means that it's a possibility a Democrat could win. You don't know that whole situation. Again, that's Florida. So we shall see what all happens with that as well. But there are many other places that are also having special elections because of whatever reason, and Democrats are picking up seats. And so that's typically the trend, that the person or the party that's in the White House oftentimes don't really help their party. If you remember President Barack Obama talking about how they got a good shellacking during his midterm election there, and a lot of Republicans won. I think that was during the time of the Tea Party movement and all that kind of stuff. And you see all these waves of things happen. Someone asked me the other day, yesterday, as a matter of fact, at our meeting, in regards to the independent voter, and what is the dynamics of people kind of participating. And I said, unfortunately, we live in a situation where it's either you're going to be a Republican or a Democrat, and I get a lot of people register independent. But many of the situations is they are excluded from participating in the primaries, in which most likely, especially here in the southern states, where a Republican or a Democrat is going to make it to the general election ballot. And so if you have a closed primary process, which means you've got to be a member of that party in order to participate, then therefore, being an independent, you don't. I mean, if it's open primary, you can choose whichever ballot you want to. And so we don't know as to the benefit of being an independent. I know people are kind of shifting to that situation, but there's no independent party organization, right, that would, where you could get information and have meetings and things of that nature to kind of figure, okay, where are we going from here? Where do we want to go? And so I don't know. But let's look at those numbers, as a matter of fact. It's here in North Carolina, or I'm going to look at them on my phone real quick. Let's look at party affiliation. I want to look at party affiliation growth trends. I'm gonna say in North Carolina first. I was about to say in America, but we're gonna see if they got something for North Carolina. So it says, "Have you registered over?" Okay. It says with another November election in review, we wanted to see how North Carolina voters have changed in the past decade since 2013. North Carolina has experienced extensive migration, and economic growth, which has been accompanied by an addition of nearly 1 million additional registered voters. And how has the influx of new residents altered the composition of North Carolina registered voters? First, we analyzed the broad demographic changes in North Carolina voting electric as a whole, and then we look at the trends, and et cetera. So we look at there is, over the past decade, unaffiliated voters overtook Democrats. So there was a decline in registered Democrats in North Carolina from 2013 to 2023, and it's a sharp decline. I actually should have showed this on the screen here. Let's see if we can copy this and get it there on TV as well. So this is gonna be the most recent data, at least from what I see, was readily available to me. If I can do this. All right. So this is a quick search website. Is when I found the link from, and haven't verified it to be a factual situation, but we're just gonna base it as factual now until proven otherwise. And if it is proven otherwise, I would certainly share that with you as well. Waiting for it to load. There we go. And let's go full screen here. Oh, okay. Well, this is actually a writing from the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. So I'm going to take this as being some truthful data points here. So this is a academia presentation here. So I'm going to say it's probably definitely verified here. So this is what I was looking at online here. And so this is have political affiliations shifted over the past decade. And it says North Carolina has added nearly 1 million registered voters since 2023. In that time span, there's been an increase in over 210,000 new Republicans, with a decrease of 350,000 Democrats, and an increase of 960,000 unaffiliated voters. And so this is it in a line chart here. And so then you got to ask yourself, what has happened between 2013 and 2023 to see that sharp change from people being registered Democrats in North Carolina to being unaffiliated voters. You would say some probably switched party affiliations, and then you had an influx of additional people who moved into the state as well. So you have a compound there. Then you have kind of just a little drop in the Republican Party affiliation during that particular time. So this chart, though, speaks to another issue in North Carolina. When you look at the unaffiliated and Democrats and Republicans in our state over the past 10 years, and now you got to get last year's election data to kind of look at, see what happens there too as well. But in looking at that, then you would ask yourself, how is it when Republicans, now this may not, I'm probably look at the actual number, this just may just be, was this just new people? And this is limited to active and inactive registered voters. No, there's the data set. Okay, so when you look at the number of registered Democrats compared to the number of registered Republicans, how is it that Republicans are controlling a majority of our state legislative body? How is it that Republicans are um, have more Supreme Court justices in our state? If you look at it just based on party affiliation, if people voted party, and I get it, people say no, I'm not voting party, I'm gonna vote common sense, and so. Is it that people are saying that common sense is more found in the Republican Party, or what has actually happened in the statewide races here? So it says the rise of unaffiliated voters in March of 2022. Wncr looked at the rise of unaffiliated voters from the Carolina demographic. A short recap: North Carolina voters were given options of registering as unaffiliated starting in 1977. However, they could not vote in Democratic Republican primaries until 1987, when North Carolina General Assembly passed House Bill 559, providing an opportunity for major parties to offer unaffiliated voters a chance to participate in their primaries. Republicans opened their primaries to unaffiliated voters in 1988. Democrats followed in 1996. Over the past 27 years, we've seen the growth in voters choosing to register as unaffiliated. So that's interesting. And that's looking at age groups there, and then how has the racial and ethnic composition of voters changed over the past decade. The following overall population trends for racial ethnic composition of voters have shifted in the past decade. The overall percentage of white and black voters decreased by 6.2% and 2.5% respectively, while the percentage of Asian, Hispanic, and other voters increased the overall percentage of the electorate, right? Voters identifying as undesignated race ethnicity witnessed a large expansion over the past decade, growing from 1.9 to 7.7% in 2023, and over the year 2020, undesignated voters made up 9.3, nearly 1/10 of it. Now, that brings up a situation that people say, "Hey, I don't want to talk about what my race or ethnicity is." And so, therefore, I'm not going to disclose on the voter registration form when I re-register. Now, some will say that is a movement to say race shouldn't matter, and therefore I'm not doing it. Or is there another situation whereas people are saying, I just don't want to identify with a race because of an ongoing race relations in America? And unfortunately, I'm not sure by you not checking a box if when push came to shove or when it hits the fan or whatever terminology you want to use, that there would be those who will be in position of power who will look at your outward appearance and determine what your race is based on what they see, especially if you didn't check a box. And even if you checked a box, in some cases, they may even argue that you checked the wrong item on the box. And so that has been interesting. That I'll go back to that form here or document here. It says that voters identifying as black or white has decreased over the past decade. And you obviously see that there. And again, I get it. You have more multicultural, multiracial individuals being born. So I get that as well. But one of the other pieces is just undesignated. People are choosing not to disclose race at all. And so that is something I didn't think about there for sure. Want to say good morning also to Betty Jenkins, Allison Williams, Eki, good morning to you as well, Linda Cooper, Candy Staten, good morning to all of you. Thank you so much for tuning in to Wncr-Tv Now as we continue to talk about things impacting our state, our city, and our nation this morning. Again, I don't even know how I got this chart, but I did. I don't know if I was reading another story. But anyway, that information I would say is most likely valid information as it came again from UNC Chapel Hill there. So we'll assess that as being scholarly work there offered by the university. But that's something to think about. Oh, I know we was talking about party affiliation, and then from with party affiliation, then got into the tone of race there, and how people are choosing to vote or not to vote. So here's somebody talking about the Marvin Sapp thing is as well. So y'all don't get up here and drag Marvin Sapp's name out because of a clip you saw. The context void the complete knowledge of the moment and time in the service. I clearly watched the video, didn't assume he was holding people hostage for $20. There's also several attendings from the service who had cleared up what was happening. Let's get accurate. And that is interesting. Again, I saw it, and then again, the post I saw was talking about kidnapping, and again, I realized, even reading the story out loud, that there was no possible way that he would have been charged with kidnapping, and if he was, it would have been an erroneous charge, for sure. Let's see what else is going on. Oh, so today is the soft opening of Bustin' Gut Maryland style seafood restaurant. And so today is the pre-soft opening. It's today, Friday, March the 28th at 11 a.m. Limited menu is available for now. It's seafood to go, to take out. You can order online, 15% off the first online orders. They do cater. You can dine with them. Of course, they're located at 135 Southeast Main Street, downtown Rocky Mount is where they are there. So that's downtown Rocky Mount at 135 Southeast Main Street. It's called Busting a Gut, Maryland style seafood and more. So I think they sell more than just seafood as well. So be sure to check them out as well. Downtown Rocky Mount, and you got to continue to invest and grow in downtown Rocky Mount and rebuild, as they were talking about some years ago, that downtown is your living room. So to rebuild that for sure. Just going through my page here. Oh, there is a special call meeting too. Let me tell you about that for the city of Rocky Mount. Let me go to their page. I saw it posted there yesterday. As a special call committee as a whole meeting of the City of Rocky Mount on Monday, March 31st at 4 p.m. The meeting will be held in the committee room on the third floor of the Frederick E. Douglass Municipal Building. The purpose of the meeting is to talk about the utility rates, the Wncr-Tv. So maybe you saw, or at least I did. Where was that at? Somewhere. I think it was at a retreat somewhere, or I don't know. But anyway, you saw them talking about the utility rates. What was it in the last committee meeting? And in Simpa, or in Kempa, I call it in Simpa, about the true up situation. Yeah, and now I'm just growing brain as to where I saw him give the true up situation. But nevertheless, he did it. Betchler. Anyway, so the utility rates about in Kempa, the water, sewer, stormwater, environmental services. Then they're going to have a conversation about the audit. Then there's the rural health application. Then item 4 is closed session dealing with property acquisition and personnel. What's interesting about a committee of a whole, I'll do it this way. We'll go to RockyMountNC.gov. We'll go to the city website real quick. And we're going to look at an agenda for the Rocky Mount Council. And this is, look at why did it go way over there? So we'll look at the most recent one, which was the 24th of March. So this is City Council agenda from the 24th of March. So in this agenda, one gives the city council vision statement. I remember when they kind of redid that vision statement a couple of years ago and revamped that. But this is one of the pages. There is a welcome page, and thank you for attending the council meeting, and they talk about when they are. But then they talk about this, and it is informal work sessions or committee meetings. The council generally conducts a work session or committee of the whole meeting at 5 p.m. prior to the first regular monthly meeting. The committee of a whole is the entire city council meeting as a committee to discuss matters requiring more in-depth explanation, study, or discussion. The committee frequently makes recommendations to the city council. However, no recommendations made by the committee of a whole are final until accepted by the city council at the regular meeting. And so, and not saying they're doing this at all, but and it could just be, again, what it should be is just conversation. In the closed session about property acquisition, and again, personnel, really the city doesn't have any action they would take on personnel except for they go into closed session themselves to hire either a clerk, a city manager, or an attorney. And any other personnel matters is really just a city manager kind of updating the city council on what he might be doing, or she, and previously we had a female city manager as well, what he or she will say may be doing with personnel matters that are in direct supervision of the city manager. And so those would just be information pieces that the city council is abreast of, but wouldn't give any directive to the city manager, yay or nay, on that, especially in a committee of a whole meeting. And the city council meeting, again, they should not really interfere with that either, but it's just kind of an informational piece. But at any rate, hopefully all these things are just informational pieces, so you can have time for the deliberation discussion about it and get a true understanding, ask all the questions you can possibly want to ask. And that's really not saying you can't do that in a council meeting as well. There are a number of times where I've watched elected councils across this country who have robust discussion at their regular meetings about things as well. And even after perhaps even having a committee meeting, they'll still come back and still say, look, yeah, I know we talked about this in the committee, and I still have my same question that I had then. It's still unanswered, and so I get it, right? So, and Rocky Mount is no different from what you see across the country. But at any rate, on Monday, March the 31st at 4 p.m., there will be a special call committee meeting. They'll be dealing with those items. Again, the utility rates, they're talking about in Kempa, or in Simpa rather, and also the water, sewer, stormwater, environmental services, the audit, the rural health application, and closed session dealing with property acquisition and personnel is what is going on there. So that's what's going on there. And we're understanding that one of the benefits that Rocky Mount did over the years was that they created the rate stabilization fund that had, has grown a couple $1 million. And when in Kempa and in Simpa, electric cities, whatever, when they, it's actually in Simpa, yeah, because electric cities don't do that. They handle some management of it. But when they passed on had to say, hey, we got true ups because Duke said, look, our portion is this. One he was showing was 40 million, one's being 50 something million, one being 53, I think was exact word, and one kind of being close to 38 or 40 million dollars again. Rocky Mount was able to take its share of whatever that was and get that money from the rate stabilization funds and not have any impact. So we didn't see any votes to increase the electric rate for the city of Rocky Mount because the council at that time and still currently has the forethought and intuition to keep that in place so that some of the savings that they could have passed on historically, they said, well, look, we're going to still give our consumers or customers a rate reduction, but we may want to hold on to an additional 2% on that rate so that when time comes, they are able to not hit them in the pockets again for it. So they built that up and it's been able to accumulate interest over the years. And so that has allowed that fund and the rates to stay, kind of great. And I'm just now thinking about something, and it could be something just to residential customers. But let's say if they did have, I don't know, 22,000 residential customers, and it's probably more than that, but we'll say 22,000. So let's say that the rate stabilization, this is me just thinking out loud now because I got nothing but time this morning, that the rate stabilization fund continues to grow and matures and this, that, and the third. why not every so many years you give a utility rebate? It may be something as simple as $100 off for 1 month, right? You kind of look at where your rate stabilization is, and if it exceeds some said cap that we think is too much to be in there, whatever that number is, right? That you say, hey, if it's 22,000 customers and we give a customers all year, your residential customers, we'll talk about business customers later, I guess, $100 off their utility bill on one said month. And maybe it's one of those winter months where you have the coldest winters and all this kind of stuff, or a hot summer, whatever it might be, that you kind of correlated during that time where residents are kind of feeling the pressure. And you have that rate stabilization fund. You don't want to do anything to negatively impact. So that's why I say you got to figure out what that threshold number needs to be. Because if Simple comes down and say, hey, we need $3.6 million again, and you ain't got but $2 in there, we got a problem, right? But whatever that is, that you kind of can figure a way to give some of the customers their money back, because essentially the rate stabilization money is coming from the customers. And when things are managed well and as it reaches a certain plateau, that I think it would be a pretty cool thing to say, hey, every even number of years, every 4 years or whatever it is, this month we're going to work on a utility customer rebate. And comes directly from rate stabilization, if at all possible to do that. And this, again, that's me thinking out loud, and I get to do that since it's my birthday today. How about that? All right, well, listen, thank you, Gloria Break, for tuning in. Marvin, we talked about the Marvin Sapp issue, and that is probably a non-issue there earlier in the show this morning. So anyway, it's about 9 o'clock. Time to get up out of here. Don't forget, today is Friday, so we are having fish at Pop's Diner at 132 South Church Street, downtown Rocky Mount. So pizza, hot dogs, hamburgers. Oh, I actually got some turkey hot dogs. Came in yesterday. And so we've got some turkey hot dogs we're now having on the menu. So those that say, I don't want the all beef hot dogs, we do have turkey hot dogs available at Pop's Diner. And I tasted one yesterday, and I will tell you, they taste pretty darn good. So that's there at Pop's Diner as well. And we've got fish today. So, of course, you got your plate with your fish and 2 sides and your drink. That is available at Pop's. And then on Sunday, we'll have our Soul Food Sunday, which includes your turkey wings, your baby back ribs, your sides with mac and cheese. We have collards this Sunday, and something else we'll have. But anyway, that'll be on Sunday. For our Soul Food Sunday, today is Seafood Friday, I guess, or Fish Friday. That's what I call it, Fish Friday. So we do have that available today at Pop's Diner, 132 South Church Street, downtown Rocky Mount, opening at 11 a.m. and closing at 6 p.m. We'll see you Monday morning to do it all over again on Wncr-Tv Now.
WAJA-LP, Rocky Mount. Another hour of inspiration for the family. We are the Promise 102.5.